going?
Yep.
Good? Alright, welcome back. Video 2. Last time I said we were going to kind of give you a little tour of the gallery and tell you a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and what we're up against. So we're going to take a real quick trip of the gallery. This is it. This 350 square foot room represents the work of 15 emerging artists. And it's kind of important to let you know emerging artists. Those are artists that, while they may have been doing what they do for a long time, they are just now getting to the point where they're getting their names out there. They're starting to get a little bit more exposure, and I like that because with emerging artists you do not have the ego and the attitude that comes along with the high-priced artist. Forgive me because I have a lot of stuff to talk about, so I got notes here. We want to keep it small. We have 15 right now, but I do have a pool of about 40 artists that I can call, email, or whatever, whenever we want to do any other events. I want to keep it small. That's important because these places that have 50, 60, 70 artists, that's too much. It's too much for me to keep track of. Somebody's going to get lost in the shuffle, and I want to take a personal interest in everybody that's in here. So we're going to kind of go over what we are up against. So we're going to take a real quick field trip outside. And again, awesome video quality. We're not doing any editing, so get over it. Okay, you see that stop sign? That is Detroit Avenue. This is one of the major roads in Lakewood. Obviously, we are not right on Detroit Avenue. If you go around the corner on Detroit Avenue, it's $1,400 a month for rent. I have never seen $1,400 a month or $1,400 in one lump sum ever. If you go down this way, we are right on the edge of a residential neighborhood. Field trip's over. The residential neighborhood is actually kind of cool because we get people that walk by every day. They wave, they say hi, they stop and they talk. And I don't think you have that anywhere else in any one of these shops around here, or anywhere really. People go to their favorite coffee shop, they don't know what's right next door to it. So one of the things we are up against, obviously, is the location. So I have to rely on things like sandwich board signs, flowers, things dangling from the outside to get people's attention, and people don't pay attention. One of the other things that we are up against is advertising. We don't do a lot of advertising. Facebook, Twitter, word of mouth, a free newspaper, flyers. That's what we do. I'm not opposed to paying for advertising, but I'm not going to talk to the advertisers because they're trying to sell me that. They're going to tell me everything that I want to hear and then not be able to follow through with that. What I do, and this is kind of an important issue, is I actually talk to people. I talk to the business owners around here. I talk to a lot of people. Advertising is anywhere from $300 to $3,000, which as a nonprofit, as a small business, we don't have. So for that kind of money, I need to see a return on our investment. And 90% of the people that I talk to tell me it's not worth it. You may get 2 people that read the advertisement and come in here. So for $300, 2 people, that math does not add up to me, especially if those 2 people aren't going to spend any money here. We also have, if you saw the house by the stop sign, that is the Chamber of Commerce. It's supposed to be for businesses. $200 a year for a membership fee. And for that, as far as I know, I might get a random tweet about us once every 6 months. And again, in talking to a lot of the people, it's not worth it. It's better for bigger businesses, doctors' offices, plumbers, things like that. So we got that going against us. The other thing is people in general. We do get a lot of foot traffic walking back and forth. The problem is people don't pay attention. They don't see a sign in front of them. They don't understand that they're about to get hit by a car because they're on their phone, got to be on Facebook, got to be on Twitter. They don't know what's going on around them. The people that do come in here, I've made this point a million times and I'll make it a million more. We're a small business. We are not a big box store. We don't have people coming in here non-stop, spending money, looking for underwear and lunch meat at the same time. We have random people that come in. Some of them are just looking. Some of them might spend $5. Some of them might spend $100. It's very sporadic and random. So that, as far as people, that's what we're dealing with. So we have to come up with money from other sources, from like festivals, classes, things like that. Another thing that I keep mentioning is that art is a want and not a need. Sarah, do you need to pay your rent?
A little bit, yes.
Andrew, do you need to pay $2,000 for a painting?
Hell no.
Exactly. So it's a want, it's not a need, so we need to make it affordable. We have things in here ranging from $1 to $500. And at $500, nobody has that in their back pocket. I understand that. But we want to make it affordable, so if we can do a payment plan, or if we can work something out, I've got a couple of those things going right now, we're willing to do that. And then we'll touch probably later on the actual importance of coming into a gallery as opposed to shopping online at something like Etsy or any one of these sites. So those are the things that we are up against. I knew all that stuff coming into this, but that wasn't going to stop me. I still had this idea and I thought it was very important. So just a little bit about how this came about. Obviously I suffer from depression and some anxieties. Why would I open a gallery if I didn't know anything about it? But a few years ago I started playing around with photography. I had just the shittiest little camera, took the shittiest little pictures, but I was able to play around with it and come up with some really cool stuff. And then my camera broke, so I borrowed a friend's, and a week later that camera broke, and a week later my laptop broke, and I said, fuck this, I'm picking up a paintbrush. So I started playing around with painting, and then I started to discover the therapeutic value in it. All that stuff that was messing with my head for weeks and months kind of disappeared after playing around for a couple of hours just painting or whatever. So we recognized the therapeutic value in it, and that's kind of why we wanted to do what we do. Now, the thing is, I am just like all of you out there. I don't have a lot of money. I work full-time during the day. I don't make a lot of money. Occasionally some personal bills get paid a few days late. I've had to scrounge up change to get gas in my car. So I came up with the idea, but I didn't have the pot to piss in. What I did have, and this is going to be a very important issue in some later videos, I had one friend, and that's the thing, is the bonds of friendship that you create when you're dealing with mental illness, because a lot of times they're far and few between, or few and far between, whatever the saying is. I had one friend that had enough trust and enough faith in me that she said she would help finance this for the first year. She also said, you can do it for a year. If it doesn't work out, at least you can say you tried. Here's a very important issue. This was not some one-year little hobby that I just wanted to do and then say, nah, I'm done with it at the end of the year. I want to keep this going. It's very important to me. It means something to me. There is a need for it. When we're doing lower cost classes and lower cost things for people, a lot of times people dealing with mental illness don't have a lot of money. They don't have a great quality of life. Some of them don't work. So we need to keep doing things like this at lower cost or for free if we can. So that's how it came about. Here's what we've accomplished we've actually been open for a year and a half. So here's what we've actually accomplished in that time. 4 months after we opened, we created a street festival right out there on the street. Paid $300 for a permit to shut down the street. We got 17 artists, 3 bands, food vendor, and there was so much going on, I don't even know what the hell was going on. But we had a lot of stuff going. We had a good enough draw that we decided to do it on a yearly basis. We did a Christmas bazaar at the church right around the corner. We also did another little smaller festival in that same parking lot that's attached to a restaurant. So those are the things that we needed to keep doing. Those were the things that were going to cover our operating costs. We've also had a handful of some lower cost classes, and we've done some support groups for people dealing with mental illness. Sometimes the bigger organizations don't want anything to do with a smaller grassroots organization like us because it doesn't mean any money for them, and I can understand that, but at the same time we're trying to help a group of people. So if there's anybody out there in the Cleveland area, any organizations that are dealing with mental illness or cancer or ALS or Alzheimer's, and all these things tie into depression, if you want to get involved, please contact us. We are up for any kind of ideas that we can possibly do, even if it's not necessarily arts related. So that's a little bit more of who we are, what we're about. So please, again, check the link to the Facebook page and the GoFundMe account. We've got a pretty cool little fundraiser that's coming up October 11th. I have 2 more that I'm going to be working on. And that's another key issue you need to understand. When we do festivals and events, the thing is, it's just me and a handful of artists and a couple of volunteers doing all this stuff. So things like the festival takes at least 2 months of planning and getting people involved and getting everything together. And when I'm spending non-stop 2 months doing that, it takes away from time for me to be able to try to do a couple of other little things. And believe me, I've got a million ideas. I think they're awesome, and when we get the artists together, we're going to come up with some better ideas. But again, we need your help to survive. We need to pay the operating costs. Little bit about galleries. They function mostly on commission, meaning I take a certain percentage of the work that's on the walls. Your average gallery, and every place is different, but the average gallery takes between 40 and 60% of the artist's sales. Okay, what happens with that is at 40 or 60%, this $10 pot becomes an $80 pot in order for the artist to make money, in order for us to make a little bit of money, and then it makes it inaccessible to the average person. I take 20%. It's pretty low. I knew that wasn't going to be the main source of funding when we opened up, and at 20%, it keeps that $10 pot at $10, and it makes it affordable for you. So that's basically where we're at as far as who we are, what we do. Next week, we are actually going to get into the topic of mental illness. So hopefully you'll check back, and I think that's about it. But I will leave you with this one note. The last video we did, it was brought to my attention that I did not take off my clothes. So Patty Fisher, this one's for you. Spring break!